Welcome to the Mugiwara Sketches YouTube channel, buddy. In today's video, we're delving deep into the thrilling world of Monkey D. Luffy's incredible abilities. A quarter century has passed since the inception of One Piece, and in that time, Luffy has unveiled a series of remarkable gears that have taken his powers to astonishing heights. From his humble beginnings as a rubbery protagonist to his latest and most awe-inspiring form, Gear 5, we're here to unravel the secrets behind each transformation. So, buckle up, because we're about to embark on an epic journey through Luffy's gears. Let's start! Part 1. What is Luffy's Devil Fruit in One Piece? Monkey D. Luffy is the main character in the popular manga and anime series One Piece. He has the will of D and wants to fulfill 3 dreams: to find One Piece, to become Pirate King, and a 3rd dream that he doesn't know about but can only be fulfilled if he becomes Pirate King. He has only told his brothers and his crewmates on the powerful Straw Hat Pirates, whose captain he is, about this dream. Also, Luffy is one of the 4 emperors of the New World and has a bounty of 3 billion berries, which is one of the highest bounties in One Piece. Before we look at the different gears techniques Luffy uses, it's important to know where his powers come from. Luffy accidentally ate the Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit when it had Akagami Shanks, the famous red-haired pirate, when he was 7 years old. The Gum Gum fruit is a type of devil fruit called a paramecia. When Luffy ate it, it turned his body into rubber. With the power of the devil fruit, Luffy can change the shape of his rubber body, which he calls gears. Luffy has unlocked a total of 5 gear forms so far, and his 5th gear is known as his best form. After he woke up his devil fruit, he was able to get Gear 5. In One Piece, Luffy has also learned all 3 types of haki and brought his devil fruit powers to life. Luffy has used his devil fruit skills to their fullest, and he can also use his haki. He has a great imagination when it comes to unleashing his power. Part 2. Major changes in Luffy's devil fruit revealed in manga. In manga episode 1069, Dr. Vegapunk says that there is no such thing as Gomu Gomu no Mi because that devil fruit is not mentioned in even the oldest books and encyclopedias about devil fruits. So, Luffy's original fruit name has always been Hito Hito no Mi, model, Nika, and the world government and Oda have been fooling us all along into thinking it was Gomu Gomu no Mi. Hito Hito no Mi, model, Nika is a mythical Zoan-type devil fruit that lets Luffy turn into the sun god Nika and get a big power boost. This happened after Luffy's last fight with Kaido, when he woke up his devil fruit and became the warrior of liberation. The devil fruit that Luffy has is one of the strongest ones in One Piece right now. Part 3. Luffy's gears in One Piece, powers and abilities. Luffy made the most of the powers he got from the devil fruit by making different gears techniques to fight stronger enemies. In the One Piece series, it gave him a lot more power over time. He was also able to control these forms up to Gear 4 and lessen the damage they did. We have made a list of all of Luffy's gear methods, including what his powers are and what the advantages and disadvantages are. So, it's time to get started. Luffy Gear 1, Base Version. Technically, Gear 1 is not one of Luffy's gear techniques. Gear 1 is never talked about in either the anime or manga. So, Luffy's base form, which is his usual flexible body that he used in the first few episodes of the anime, can be called Gear 1. Luffy's base form attacks all start with Gomu Gomu no, like Gomu Gomu no Pistol, where he pulls his long arms back and pushes himself forward to hit an opponent. Luffy's base form moves all in his hands or legs. He is a rubber man. He is naturally good at defense. So, normal bullets can't go through him, but shots covered in haki can hurt him. Lightning also won't hurt him. In Gear 1 form, Luffy has more than 90 attacks. He can also put haki into this form and cover his attacking parts to make his skills in the base form stronger. Gear 1 advantages. His body is made of rubber, so he can attack in many different ways. He is only bound by his imagination. The rubbery body is also a natural defense, especially against lightning and many other things. Gear 1 disadvantages. It takes him a while to stretch out his body parts, so Luffy is weak for a short time before he can attack. It's clear that Buggy and Kuro took advantage of this weakness before. Luffy Gear 2. Luffy used Gear 2 for the first time in episode 272, which is part of the Enies Lobby arc, which is one of the best arcs in One Piece. This gear shape is one of the best we've seen. Fans love it even more than usual because it was the first official gear form. In his fight against Blueno, Luffy was seen using this form. So, what he did was first speed up the way his heart pumped blood through his body to make his strikes faster and stronger. This form was the first step Luffy took toward becoming a stronger character. The blood pumping caused Luffy's skin to turn red and pinkish and steam to come out, which made Gear 2 look badass. Because of this change, he was able to destroy poor Bueno. When he was in Gear 2 form, Luffy pumped blood through his legs. After the time skip, he was able to do this perfectly in different ways. He could even make it work only in certain parts of his body. In Gear 2 form, Luffy says Gomu Gomu no Jet before he attacks, just like in his base form. Gomu Gomu no Jet Gun is an example of this. By putting together his second gear and the Haki, Luffy was able to make a stronger move. Red Hawk was what Luffy called it. He hit his opponent with godlike speed and force, which caused friction with the air and lit the punch. His punch was surrounded by flames, which is how he got the name Red Hawk. It was a way to honor his brother, Fire Fist Ace. During the fight on Onigashima, he even used this move against Kaido. Gear 2 advantages. In a short amount of time, he can get faster and stronger. He can also add Haki to his jet strikes to make them stronger. Gear 2 disadvantages. The rapid rise in metabolism makes him hungrier and, if used for a long time, can even make him paralyzed. At first, it was said that it could shorten his life, but after the time skip, Luffy was able to lessen these effects. Luffy Gear 3. During the Enies Lobby arc of One Piece, Luffy showed fans 2 new gears moves right after the other. Luffy talked about Gear 3 for the first time in episode 288, and in episode 305, we saw how it worked in full effect. Luffy fights against ex-CP9 member Rob Lucci with Gear 3. Luffy puts his thumb in his mouth like a stopper and bites it to make a small hole. Then he blows so hard that his arms balloon up to a huge size. He can also use this method in certain body parts, just like the second gear. Because Luffy is bigger in this form than he is normally, he can use a more powerful move. There is a catch, though. Luffy uses the Gear 3 technique. He gives up some of his movement. His attacks start with Gomu Gomu no Gigant, and he covers his arms with Haki to make crazy attacks like Gomu Gomu no Gigant Rifle. Luffy can make a lot of different strikes that are based on both weapons and animals as well. Each has its own strength and style. The parts of his body that are covered in armament Haki also make him better at defense, which was clear when he fought Fujitora. He puts it around himself to protect himself from his strikes. Also, when he used this form, it made him small like a child, and we saw him run away from Rob Lucci in the Enies Lobby story. After the time skip in the story, he is better able to handle and master his Gear 3 form. Also, Luffy can now totally stop himself from getting smaller. Gear 3 advantages. Luffy's strikes are stronger now that he is bigger and has more mass. It also gives Luffy a way to defend himself with the third form. When it was covered in Haki, it gave him even more power. Gear 3 disadvantages. Gear 3 turned him into a child when he first used it, making him totally defenseless. Using this form makes it harder for Luffy to move around. Luffy Gear 4. Fans of One Piece remember some of the best arcs because of how Luffy changed into gears. The same is true for the Dressrosa arc episode 726, which showed us Luffy's Gear 4 move for the first time. When Luffy fought Don Quixote da Flamingo, he used the Gear 4 form. It was the result of his 2 years of training with Silver's Rayleigh at Rusakana. You could say that this is a big step up from the third gear. He blows into his arms to make his whole body bigger and his muscles stronger. After that, he covers these body parts with armament Haki, which turns reddish-black as it hardens. He also blows off steam, just like he did when he used his second gear method. This huge improvement gave Luffy many new forms and made his attack and defense abilities much stronger. Luffy's Gear 4 method has 3 sub-forms, and he chooses which one to use based on what's going on. Let's take a close look at the 3 Gear 4 forms. Luffy Gear 4, Boundman. Boundman Bounceman is the name of the first sub-form of Luffy's 4th gear. In this form, Luffy keeps bouncing off the surface, which is where the name comes from. As we've already said, his body is bigger than normal, and his chest, arms, and legs are covered in armament Haki. He can also pull his arms and legs into his body, giving him the ability to fight quickly and with a lot more power. He can also defend himself with his Haki-coated body parts, since most strikes bounce off of him. In this form, Luffy could do his famous Python move perfectly against Doflamingo, Katakuri, and many other enemies. Luffy Gear 4, Tankman. Tankman is the name of the second subform of Luffy's fourth gear. It was only seen once, when he fought Charlotte Cracker, one of the 3 sweet commanders of the Big Mom Pirates in the Whole Cake Island arc. In this part of the story, Nami, one of the best female characters in One Piece, gave Luffy a lot of cakes, which he ate and grew bigger from. Then he used the Gear 4 method, which turned him into a tank. This Tankman form was used when there was a lot of need for defense because it is so good at defense. Luffy used this against Charlotte Cracker to take a lot of damage and then used his Gomu Gomu no Cannonball move to knock him out. Luffy Gear 4, Snakeman. Snakeman is the name of the third subform of Luffy's fourth gear. It is used when he fights Charlotte Katakuri, who is also one of the Big Mom Pirates' 3 sweet commanders. Compared to his other 2 forms, this one made Luffy look slimmer. The weapon haki is only focused on his hands, legs, and middle, not on his whole body. Luffy could do his fastest strikes when he was in Snakeman form because it made him faster. But he had to give up the best parts of the other 2 Gear 4 subforms, which were their defensive skills. In this form, like in Boundman form, Luffy can even change the direction of his weapons at any time. Luffy called this move Python. It gave him more freedom to attack from any direction and to fight back against Katakuri's observation haki. Gear 4 advantages. The Boundman form made Luffy more stable, so he could do both striking and defending at the same time. Luffy's Tankman form turned him into an unbreakable tank, so he could take a lot of damage. Luffy could hit a lot faster and change the direction of his attacks when he was in Snakeman form. The Gear 4 was a big step forward for Luffy's skills because it made him much better at both attacking and defending. Gear 4 disadvantages. The defenses of Luffy's Boundman and Tankman forms are easy to break for haki players with too much power. In the Wano arc, Kaido destroyed Luffy's Gear 4 bodies, for example. Katakuri took advantage of the fact that Luffy's Snakeman has very few defense skills to do a lot of damage to Luffy. After using Gear 4, Luffy won't be able to use haki again for 10 minutes. When he uses the 4th gear, his body suffers a lot. Luffy Gear 5. In the One Piece manga and anime, Luffy's most surprising and talked about gear technique was just shown. As you just know, the last time Luffy did something new with his gear was during the Dressrosa and Whole Cake Island arcs. Even though it's been a long time, the wait was well worth it because we finally got to see Luffy's Gear 5 technique in action. Luffy's Gear 5 form was first shown in Manga Chapter 1044 and Episode 1071, which were the end of the Wano Country arc. It became clear during his last fight with Kaido on the roof of Onigashima. When Luffy's Devil Fruit woke up, he made his newest gear technique. He was able to change into the Sun God Nika, which showed what his Devil Fruit could really do. With this technique, not only did Luffy's power level up, but his clothes, hair, eyebrows, and other things also turned white, giving him a big makeover. In his best state, his eyes now have a red glow. Also, in this form, Luffy's upgraded Gear 5 skills let him bend reality. As with the Toon Force power, he can do anything that comes to his mind because he can change the shape and size of his body and use any kind of haki he wants. Gear 5 advantages. Luffy's 5th gear gave him the most power boost he's ever had up to this point. At the moment, it is Luffy's best and most powerful form, and he can do anything. He can quickly switch to faster gears. He can use both Conqueror's haki and Armament haki at the same time. He can come up with more powerful attacks that are only limited by his ideas. His body is made of rubber, which helps him a lot in defense now. He can change the world and things around him. Gear 5 disadvantages. It uses up a lot of Luffy's energy and wears him out, because he isn't very good at it yet. That's all you need to know about Luffy's gear's techniques and his abilities. We hope we were able to explain all of Luffy's gear in a way that was clear and easy to understand. In this guide, we also talked about Luffy's new Gear 5 technique and how it works, as well as how his real Devil Fruit wakes up. As we eagerly wait for more chapters and episodes, tell us in the comments which gear appeals to you the most. Keep sailing the Grand Line until we meet again, fellow explorers. Thank you very much for visiting the Mugiwara Sketches YouTube channel, buddy. We hope you enjoy our funny sketch videos and anime reviews. Don't forget to subscribe to continue joining us on our joyful journey in the world of anime. If you have any wishes, questions, or suggestions for our next videos, feel free to express your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for your support, and until we meet again. See you next time, buddy.